If you're a business owner and you keep saying, we just can't find good people, let me challenge that. The problem usually isn't only the market. The problem is often that the business is not yet set up to attract, select, and keep the kind of people it says that it wants. Because A players don't just join any business. They join businesses with clarity. They stay in businesses with leadership, and they thrive in businesses with systems. So if you've been frustrated by poor applicants, bad hires, staff turnover, cultural issues, people not taking responsibility, or the constant feeling that you're carrying the whole team on your back, this conversation matters. Today, I want to show you how to attract, hire, and keep great people in a competitive market. Not just warm bodies, not just someone who can fog a mirror and turn up on Monday. I'm talking about people who fit your culture, take ownership, care about the customer, and help your business grow. Because the truth is this, a business cannot scale past the quality of its people. And if you want a commercial, profitable business that works better, grows better, and gives you more freedom, then building a stronger team is not optional. It's essential. So the real cost of getting hiring wrong. Let's start with the cost. When most business owners think about recruitment, they think about direct cost of advertising the role, interviewing, maybe even paying a recruiter. But that's not the real cost. The real cost is the rework, the missed deadlines, the upset customers, the pressure on your good team members, the time that you waste supervising the wrong person, and the emotional drain of carrying someone that should never have been hired in the first place. Then there's the hidden cost. When one poor performer stays too long, your A players start asking themselves dangerous questions. Why am I working so hard when no one else is being held accountable? Another question they might ask is, why am I the one always cleaning up the mess? Or why am I staying in a business that tolerates mediocrity? That's when the good people leave. So the conversation about keeping great people doesn't start after they join, it starts before you hire them. It starts with the kind of leader that you are. The standards are set, the culture you protect, and the systems that you build. I often say this, systems create consistency, people create results. If you want better people, don't just ask, where do I find them? Also ask, what kind of business are we asking them to join? Because high performers are not looking for chaos. They're looking for clarity, purpose, structure, growth, and leadership. So, what an A player really looks like. Now, let's define what we mean by an A player. An A player is not just the most technically skilled person. A player staff are people who bring the full package. They have the capability to do the role. They have the character to do the right thing. They have the attitude to learn, adapt, and improve. And they have the accountability to own outcomes, not excuses. In practical terms, an A player usually looks like this. They turn up on time, they follow through, they communicate early, they care about the quality, They solve problems. They bring energy, not drama. They align with your values. They want to win as part of a team. And here's the trap many owners fall into. They hire for skill. They fire for behaviour. That tells us something. It tells us that values, attitude, and fit matter just as much as experience, sometimes even more. Because a person with the right values and the right attitude can be coached, trained, and developed. But a person with poor character, poor communication, or poor ownership will often damage your culture faster than their technical skill can ever justify. So when I say attract A players, I don't mean hire the flashiest resume. I mean attract the right people into the right seats for the right reasons. So how to attract better people, become a better business to join. This is where many business owners need a mindset shift. If you want better applicants, your ad is not enough. Your whole business is the ad. Your reputation is the ad. Your leadership is the ad. Your culture is the ad. Even your website is the ad. And then your interview process is also the ad, as well as your onboarding. Good people are screening you while you're screening them. So what does attract A players? First, it's clarity. People want to know, why does this role, or what does this role really involve? What does success look like? What standards are going to be expected? Who will support me? And where are the opportunities for me to grow? Second is purpose. People want to feel they are joining something meaningful, not just filling a gap for an overwhelming owner. Third is culture. Not culture as a poster on the wall, culture as behaviour. How do people communicate here? How are mistakes handled? How are wins recognised? Do people feel respected? And are expectations clear? And probably most importantly, do leaders follow through? The fourth is leadership credibility. People don't leave jobs only because of money. They often leave because of confusion, inconsistency, poor management, or lack of growth. If you want to attract strong people, you must show that your business is led well. That means the owner must adopt some key traits. You must become more intentional, more consistent, more decisive, more communicative, and more accountable yourself. You cannot demand ownership from your team if you model blame. You cannot demand consistency from your team if you keep changing direction. You cannot demand excellence if you tolerate poor standards. One of the things I work with clients is helping them understand that recruitment is a leadership issue, not just an HR issue. For example, I work with a trades business that kept saying, "No one good applies anymore." But when we look closer, the real issue was that their ad was vague, their interview process was rushed, and once someone started, there was almost no structure. The business wasn't attracting poor people, it was repelling good people. Once we clarified the role, tightened the message, cleaned up the onboarding, and trained the leaders to communicate expectations properly, the quality of applicants improved and the team became more stable. Not because the market magically changed, because the business changed. So the next one is how to attract A players before you even interview them. So what do you need to do? Number one is get crystal clear on the role. Don't hire because you're desperate. Hire because the role is defined. So write down the key outcomes of the job, the top responsibilities, the standards that matter, the behaviours required, and then what are the measures of success. If someone read your role description, would they know what winning looks like in the first 90 days? If not, the role's too fuzzy. Number two is sell the opportunity honestly. Your recruitment ad should not read like a list of chores. It should answer, why would a great person want this role? What kind of team are they joining? What kind of leader will they be working with? What are the growth opportunities that exist? And then what difference will they make in the organisation? So be clear, be real, be direct. The right people are attracted by challenge, development, meaning, and standards. So number three is build an employer promise. Why should someone stay with you instead of the business down the road? Your employer promise might include things like this: strong communication, regular feedback, clear goals, career development, really important, recognition, a values-based culture, what good systems are in place, and supportive leadership. If you cannot answer why a top performer should choose your business, don't expect the market to answer it for you. Number four is recruit all the time. Don't only recruit when someone quits. Great businesses are always building relationships with future talent. That means asking current A players for referrals. Who do they know? The next thing is staying visible in your community. Showing team culture online. Keeping a short list of people you'd hire if a seat opened up. Connecting with apprentices, emerging leaders, and industry talent early. The best hiring often happens before the vacancy appears. The next bit is how to hire smarter, not faster. Now let's move to selection. This is where many expensive mistakes happen. A lot of owners hire on instinct alone. I like them. They seem keen. They said all the right things. They could start straight away. That is not a hiring strategy. That is hope. Hope is not a system. Here's a smarter way to do it. Step one is to use a scorecard. Before the interview, decide what you are scoring. Usually I suggest scoring candidates on role capability, their values fit, how they communicate, ownership, learning agility, will they fit the team? And then what's their customer mindset? Now, you're not just going with gut feel. You're assessing against agreed criteria. Step two is ask behavioural questions. Don't ask questions that allow rehearsed answers. Instead of asking, are you a team player? Ask, tell me about a time a team member dropped the ball and what you did next. Instead of asking, can you handle pressure? Ask, tell me about a week where priorities changed quickly. How did you manage it? Past behaviour is one of the strongest indicators of future behaviour. Step three, interview for values, not just skill. So ask, what kind of leader do you do your best work under? How do you like to receive feedback? Another question, what does accountability mean to you? And tell me about a mistake you made and how you handled it. What you're doing is you're listening for maturity, humility, ownership, and self-awareness. Step 4 is use practical filters. Depending on the role, add or give some trial tasks. Ask for some work samples. Give some different scenario responses. I always encourage second interviews, if not third interviews. Do peer interviews and reference checks that ask deeper questions. Not just would you rehire them. Also include in the reference check questions is what environment did they perform best in? What pressure points affected them? What kind of management did they need? And what should we know to help them succeed? They're great questions for when you're doing reference checking. Step 5 is never hire from desperation. One of the costliest decisions in business is hiring someone because you're tired. Desperation lowers standards, and lowered standards create bigger problems later on. I've seen business owners keep a seat filled by the wrong person simply because they fear the seat being empty. But an occupied seat or an occupied wrong seat is often worse than an empty one. One manufacturing client I coached had a pattern of hiring quickly whenever production pressure increased. On paper, the hires looked capable. In reality, they lacked attention to detail and ownership. So we changed the process. We built a role scorecard. We added practical checks. We clarified the behaviours that matched the culture. And suddenly, the business stopped hiring for relief and started hiring for fit. That changed everything. Because when you hire the right person, management gets easier. Performance becomes more consistent and the owner gets back time. Keeping A players. This is where leadership really matters. So let's talk retention, because hiring a great person and then losing them 6 months later is not success. Keeping A players requires more than good intentions. It requires a deliberate environment. So number 1, on board with structure. A player staff want to succeed quickly, so don't throw them in and hope they figure it out. Give them clear expectations, a role success plan, training priorities, what are the key relationships that they have, daily and weekly check-ins, and then feedback early, not late. The first 90 days shape their belief about your business. If the first 90 days feels chaotic, unsupported or unclear, they will question whether they made the right move. Number 2 is give clarity and feedback. Great people don't need to be micromanaged, but they do need clarity. They need to know what matters most. How are they tracking? What does good look like? And what are the areas that may need some improvement? This is where one-to-one meetings matter. Not random chats in the hallway, structured one-to-ones. The agenda goes something like this. What's working? What's not? What support do you need? What are your priorities? Where are you growing? Number 3 is recognise contribution. A players do not expect a parade every Friday, but they do expect to know that their effort matters, and recognition builds retention. Catch people doing things right, acknowledge progress, celebrate wins, and then thank people specifically. Not just good job. Say the way you handled that client issue was calm, proactive and professional. That's exactly the standard that we want. Number 4 is create growth plans. Top performers want progress. That doesn't always mean promotion tomorrow, but it does mean development. Can they build some new skills? Can they lead projects? Can they mentor others? Can they grow into a bigger role over time? If your best people cannot see a future with you, they will eventually create one without you. Number 5, protect the culture. This matters enormously. A players do not want to work in a culture where poor behaviour is tolerated. Let me say that again. A players do not want to work in a culture where poor behaviour is tolerated. If somebody is negative, careless, disrespectful, late, lazy, or continually making excuses and nothing happens, your strong people notice. Retention is not only about rewarding good people, it's also about refusing to protect the wrong ones. A logistics client that I worked with had a strong team member who was close to leaving. Not because of pay, not because of workload, because they were tired of carrying weaker performers while the owner avoided the difficult conversations. We put in place clearer KPIs, regular leadership check-ins, accountability rhythms, and faster performance management. The result was not only better team performance, it was stronger trust, because good people stay where standards are real. So, where the owner must put their attention, focus and energy. This is the part I really want business owners to hear. If you want to attract, recruit and keep better people, you must apply your attention, focus and energy to the right things. Not just the urgent things, the right things. So your attention must go to things like the future team your business needs, the culture that you are creating, the leadership behaviours that you are modelling, the seats that matter the most, and the people who have the potential to become key leaders. Your focus must go to defining roles clearly, improving your recruitment process, selecting for fit and accountability, building onboarding systems, coaching your managers to lead well, and measuring performance consistently. Your energy must go to these areas: leading, not rescuing, developing people, not just directing people, creating systems, not solving the same people problems every week, having those hard conversations early, reinforcing standards and values every single day. This is where owners get stuck. They spend their energy filling gaps, fighting fires, and patching problems created by poor hiring or poor leadership. But if you keep working only in the immediate mess, you never build the business that stops creating the mess. That is why leadership maturity matters. At a certain point, success in business is less about how hard you work and more about how well you build people and systems. So you must move from I need staff to I need the right people in the right seats with the right leadership and the right systems. This is a completely different standard and it creates a completely different business. So if you've been struggling to find good people, here's the takeaway. Don't lower your standards, raise your leadership. Don't just hire faster, hire smarter. Don't just blame the market. Build a business better people want to join. Because when you attract the right people, hire with discipline, and keep them through strong leadership and clear systems, everything changes. Your culture improves, your communication improves, your customers feel it, your productivity lifts, your stress drops, and your business becomes far less dependent on you carrying the whole load. That is what great teams do. They give the owner room to lead, they give the business room to grow, and they give everyone a better place to work. If you're looking at your team right now and you know something needs to change, whether that's recruitment, leadership, retention, structure, or accountability, then don't leave it to chance. Let's have a conversation. Because sometimes one change in your hiring process can shift in your leadership, or one better system can completely change the quality of people your business attracts and keeps. I'm Phil Bajura from Action Coach Business Steps, and if you want to build a stronger team, stronger systems, and a stronger business, schedule a meeting. Let's help you turn team chaos into control.